Let's have a conversation about filler and facial filler and the filler that stars get and probably the filler that somebody you know gets but doesn't look very natural. Let's have this conversation because there's so many people out there that are thinking about filler, maybe don't know one who is open enough to talk about their experience. So that's what I'm here for. I am not going to gatekeep. I am going to give you the nitty gritty on facial filler. I have been getting it since 2019, and I am going to show you my facial transformation, why I got it, why I still get it if I do, and what are some things that you need to be aware of. So let's get started. So in case you may not be familiar, hi, my name is Jen, and I get down here and I talk about health, wellness, building muscle, building a strong life, and beauty. And I am a Gen Xer. I am currently 52 years old, and I would like to say that I naturally look younger than my age. And I think I did look a little younger than my age, at least that's what my ego wants to tell itself. But I've had help. And I've got no problem sharing about that help. And I think if more people were honest about what they do, it would just help others a lot. Now, before I even get into it, I want to make sure that I'm very clear about something. This is something that I do for me. This is something that I enjoy and that I will continue to do, but this is not something that I think everybody needs to do or that, everybody has their own brand of beauty. And that should be respected and celebrated. So just because I do this doesn't mean that I cast any kind of judgment on anyone who doesn't. I think it's beautiful. Everyone has beauty and everyone should celebrate that in their own way. That being said, let's talk about filler and what led me to starting to get filler. And it started with lip filler as I'm looking at my lips right now. So I had no top lip. And when I smiled, my top lip disappeared. So I always had thin, very angular lips, always. It wasn't necessarily something that I was self-conscious about, but it was something where quite frequently I would smile with my mouth closed. I noticed one of my girlfriends had been getting filler. And I asked her about it and who she went to, and she went to this amazing person, and I've shared about her before. Her name is Danielle, and I went to go check it out. And I have some before and afters that I am going to show you in just a minute or two. When I went to Danielle, we consulted. She talked about what we could work on, and so I won't look at the camera because I need to look at myself right now when I point this out, but I am aware that my face can be a little crooked. So one side of my mouth pulls down more than the other. So Danielle corrected that with a shot of Botox. I think it was here. And also I have an Elvis top lip. I actually deleted one of my shorts that had me because my mouth has a tendency to go up more on one side. And so when I had my filler, we tried to compensate a little bit for that, but that's really not a lot you can do with natural distortion. But what the filler did for me was amazing. It just, I can't describe it. It just kind of woke up my face. So let's go to some pictures, and I'm going to get more into the details about filler as we look at our pictures. Okay, here. Picture with Darth Vader. You could see that I barely have a top lip, tight smile, but all around pretty, but just no lip. And of course, even with Jason Momoa, I would like to have an upper lip. Yeah, there's a story behind this picture. That's a video for another day. Just know that your girl did get to wrap her arms around Jason Momoa. So as you can see from the video that I had virtually no upper lip. Now, your girl is a full-time comic book nerd, and I go to Comic-Con, and that's how I was able to get my arms around Jason Momoa. It was a shining light in the path of my life that I will always look back on. And he was huge, by the way. I was wearing 4-inch platform heels, and he towered over me, and it was a lovely feeling. So let's talk about it. My lip disappeared when I smiled. It's kind of like that. So when I went to Danielle, I went because I was developing like these marionette lines. I wanted fullness. I would say that I knew I wanted some type of lip filler, but I just went to her, basically said, can we do a little something about the aging process? Now, I want to make clear, I did not think I wasn't beautiful. I knew I was beautiful, but these are just some things that I wanted to change about my appearance. So I just wanted to make that very clear. Okay, so let's take a look now at the before and afters, because I think that's what you're all here for anyway. Okay, so like I said, here you can see some of the marionette lines on the top. The top is my before, the bottom are the afters, and you can see the changes are so subtle but so powerful at the same time. Here you can see where I've illustrated, I've circled the areas that were corrected. That curve in my lip up there, that was already there. That's just part of how my lips are. So here's some less flattering pictures going into a nicer one. And this is where I was at after my first. I'm also a big fan of cheek filler. I don't get it often, but here I wanted to show you. The left side of my face has cheek filler, the right side doesn't. You can see the drastic difference in the shape of my face and how it picks up on the lines on the side of my mouth. And here's a comparison. I believe this is my third time versus prior to my ever getting filler in my mouth before. Again, I have a crooked lip. I am okay with it. I hope you are too. And I just want to point out that, it just picked up my face so much. You could see I was very happy here. And so there we go. That was my third. So you've seen my before and afters. Now I've only shown you before and afters from right before my very first time to, I believe, after my third time. Now I have spent an entire year, and I think maybe a little more, not going back to Danielle. So I don't want you to think that once I started getting filler, I was in her chair every few months. That wasn't the case at all. I would say if I got Botox every 6 months, that would be a lot. Like I currently have full mobility in my forehead. I haven't had Botox in my forehead since, this time last year. That being said, like if I go see her consistently, it would probably be about once a year. Now, here's the thing about filler. Filler does over time dissolve and it will migrate. So dissolving after a while, now there's always going to be a certain amount of filler left over, but my lips did decrease in volume, which led after about a year, a little more than a year, I went back to Danielle and I got a touch up. You saw my third visit pictures. I just was like, give it to me. I wanted those big pouty lips, right? Now, also the lips that you saw in that third picture are quite swollen. You do look like you have a clown face for about 5 days. So if you're going to go get this done, just be aware that you are going to feel ridiculous for the first few days. It's completely normal. I don't even think about it anymore. The first time I got it done, I was like, oh, I don't want anyone to see me. What if somebody notices? Now, I don't care. I'll go to work the next day. I'll have like a bruise here or there, a bruise on my lip. People might say, wait, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, I got filler. It's not a thing. Again, I don't gatekeep. I have no shame in my game. I am all about you do what makes you feel pretty, right? So I have changed quite a bit. I used to go from super on the DL, not telling anybody what I do, to you could give me a microphone and I will shout from the rooftops what I do, because I feel like there are so many people that are afraid to talk about it. So you will lose volume after a while. You may want to pick me up. Probably my favorite filler of all, by the way, is cheek filler, not lips. I do love lips, but cheeks just like pick up everything to a certain point and just smooth out these lines, and it just looks lovely. I want to have a real talk with you though. It doesn't last. Like the novelty will not last forever. And this is where you might see some people get some body dysmorphia or go over and over again to try and get more filler. I'm sure if you look for it on TikTok, you're going to find people that have severe pillow face. Pillow face is when you see somebody who is like, their face has gotten swollen, their cheeks are swollen, their chins are so drawn out because they've gotten so much filler here and here. There's certain stars that I've watched that I can see now, like how much their face has gotten distorted. And it's something to learn from. Like case in point, love Nicole Kidman. She has done so much to her face. It's drastically changed the way she looked, and she's trying to get back to where she was. But I feel like it's actually detracted from watching her as an actress. And so these are things that you need to be careful of, because that first time, that first high, when you get out of that chair and you look like you just lost 10 years off your face, that is a high, my friend. 100%. And I rode that for a solid few months. I just felt amazing. And then when you don't feel amazing, because it's that hedonistic treadmill, right? Like once you start getting something, you want more of something to feel great again. You want that intensity again. You are never going to have the same high or the same wow, I look amazing ever again after your first time. It's going to look great. Don't get me wrong. Every single time I've gotten filler, I've been like, wow, this is nice. This is nice. This looks good. This is nice. But you are never going to have the wow that you had the first time. So you need to be prepared for that. If this is something that you choose to do, just please be aware of that. And also, if you have a compulsive personality or an addictive personality, think twice and make sure that you really check your motives when you go in there, and be frank. Make sure that you talk about it with maybe a mental health professional, because there are some people that just get very obsessive because they're chasing that high. I'm under no illusions, right? My days of filler are probably dwindling to an end, because at a certain point you hit a point of no return, and it will begin to not look natural. I'm already pushing that envelope a little bit right now. And that's just something that I need to bear in mind. Nothing is going to stop me from aging. Nothing is going to stop my skin from falling. I can do what I can to slow down that process, but I also have to ask myself, just how much time of my valuable time do I want to invest in fighting a natural process? So these are things that I think are important for us to consider when you're thinking about getting filler. I love Botox. I think Botox is a fabulous preventative, and maybe I will do another video solely on Botox, because I could see me continuing to do that until infinity, right? I can definitely see that continuing. But let's talk about some other things that I think are really, really important. I talked about pillow face, and you'll see it now that I've described it. And if you Google pillow face or you look on TikTok or Instagram, you're going to see plenty of examples. Filler does migrate. Lip filler does migrate eventually. You know, it could go beyond the bounds of your lips, where if you want a refresh, you can actually have it all dissolved and start from the process all over again, and start, small and build your way up. I know other people that have done that. Just be aware that even though I say dissolve, there's always going to be some in there. Plastic surgeons will say that too. It will not correct imbalances. Like I showed you in those pictures. In those pictures, you very clearly saw, and if you look closely, you'll even see in my natural lip, like this one side tends to go off, right? And so the filler exacerbated that in that particular angle in that picture. And I don't think there's anything that I could do or that my injector could do to correct that natural imbalance. And that's kind of like, that's who I am anyway. So I don't want to correct it. That's part of my character. But realize, while filler is amazing, it's not a miracle, and it's not going to all of a sudden necessarily fix the things that you don't like about your face. It can in some way, like I had a little shadow in a duct here that got filled, kind of filled up some volume there. And like I said, I had a little Botox shot here that stopped my muscle from pulling my lip down. There are small nuances, but realize that, your lips are shaped a certain way. There's only a certain amount that a skilled injector can do. Let's talk a little bit about what others might say, because this might happen. I've had two people say things that were not the kindest to me, and they were both people that had seen me well prior and afterward. And honestly, I really didn't care. The first one was a dear friend, and she happened to be over at my house for Thanksgiving. And she said, do you ever wonder that you're not setting the right example for your daughter? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, well, getting filler and doing stuff like that. Like, do you ever wonder that that might not be the kind of example you want to set for your daughter? And I was like, in what way? So in my personal opinion, I want my daughter to do what makes her feel good, what makes her feel confident. And that starts with physical activity. That starts with eating appropriately. That starts with being involved in sports. That it starts with getting proper sleep and nutrition. That starts with expressing your feelings and do not hold things in. That starts with being authentically yourself. And I looked at my friend and I said, how does me doing something that makes me feel good about myself set a bad example for my daughter? And she couldn't answer that. And she actually came back several months later. I had forgotten about this incident until she brought it back up, because I truly had forgotten about it. But she came back to make amends to me. And she's like, that was really out of line. And I shouldn't have said anything. It was like, I completely forgot about it up until this moment. And don't even worry about it. Because honestly, I'm so okay with the decision to do this that it's not a thing. The next thing that I had was I actually had an aunt. A few months ago, I had a picture taken of my daughter and myself. We were at a concert, and I'm turned like this, and I'm smiling, and I noticed in the picture that my lips looked big and glossy, and it wasn't recently after getting them injected. It just the way the angle of the picture was. But her actual words were, I love you so much. Please don't be offended. I hate your lips. I can't stand them. And I was like, this is so highly inappropriate. But I had to take it from the source. And that's really what I suggest you do too. Is it worth me saying anything back? Yeah. Could I? Sure. What's it going to do? I love my face. I loved my face before. I love my face even more now. I am 100% okay with my decision. I do not hide it. I do not gatekeep. I am 100% honest, and I'm authentic in who I am and what I do. I don't believe she is. And so I had to take it from the source. People are going to say things. Sometimes they might say things directly to your face. You got to be okay with your decision-making process. You have to be okay. This is your body. I get one ride. I get one ride in this body. I plan to make the most of it. I plan to live as long and strong as possible. That's why I have this channel, to help inspire other people who are now plus 50 or above. Get in the gym, get healthy, think about their bone density, think about their muscle mass, think about their quality of life. Because I don't know about you, I want to enjoy this, I want to enjoy this, and I want to enjoy everything that's out there. So I hope you found this video useful. If you're wondering about filler, my experience has been great. Now, yes, there's different brands of filler. Honestly, I am not that educated on it. You need to talk to a professional about that first. If you are looking for an injector, first, you can always go to, you can do your own research, right? My suggestion is you want to go for somebody who is constantly improving their practice. So my girl that I've been going to since 2019, she goes to conferences regularly. She goes to trainings regularly. She posts on them on Instagram. Like, she goes to several conferences a year. She learns from the best people in the field, and she's constantly looking to improve her practice. The other thing that I really liked about her, even more so, is she's told me no a few times. So I've gone into her, and my two favorite things to get are cheek filler and lip filler. Cheeks first, because cheeks do this. And I've sat in her chair and I'm like, well, can we do lips? And she'll look at me and she goes, no. Your lips are fine. We're not touching your lips. Well, how about cheeks? Your cheeks are fine. We're not touching your cheeks. And I remember one time she said, listen, I understand this is what you want. This is what makes you feel good, or this is what you like. You are not walking around with my name on your face and me doing your lips again. That is the mark of somebody who I want to go to, because I completely trust her judgment. I am at the point now with her where I save up money. I've said this before. I have a face fund, and I will save up money in a sinking fund where I can go to her and I'll be like, all right, I got $1,500 or I got $2,000. This is what I think I need. You tell me what I need. And some of you might think, well, of course she's going to use it all. She doesn't. Sometimes she has, sometimes she hasn't. And it's always been in my best interest because she cares about the product or the person that comes out of her office. That's the kind of person that you want. So anyway, I talked a lot longer than I expected. I saw there was a good response to the CO2 laser video, so I figured, hey, why don't I do one about filler and see if there's anybody out there that's wondering what the experience is like. And if you like this, please consider liking and subscribing. It would mean a lot to me, and it would be very supportive of my work. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.